Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, he's such an awesome God. He's a wonderful God. And he created some awesome, wonderful human beings. You are they, created in the image and likeness of God. If you could ever free your mind to get to that truth, because that's who you are. And I'm sure we all battle with different versions of ourselves because of the enemy. And as we have been studying through the book of Joshua, we just see the cunning of the enemy, but also the power of our God over any and every enemy. As we saw last week, Joshua and the troops were on the move. They were conquering cities. They started that mission to repossess the land. And we found out last week that God is not a I told you so God. He's never going to tell you I told you so. He's never going to be reminding you, you didn't do what I told you last week. Because he said you're supposed to already know. The journey of salvation in full bloom, which started when Satan was kicked out of heaven and brought down to earth. God said, now salvation has come to creation. The salvation journey began. That salvation journey is still in progress. As we are watching the children of Israel, as we see another chapter of that salvation journey. As the children of Israel have gone through and conquering the land, doing all that God had told them to do for us, driving out the enemy. An example to us that we're supposed to be driving out the enemies, but they're not our human beings. They are the thoughts in our minds that make you struggle with the things of God. They're the thoughts in your mind that would make you doubt God. They're the thoughts in your mind that would make you think that there's a better way. That's your enemy. That's what you've been given all power over. And as we see through God's example, if you really want to drive that enemy out, it's just a matter of saying so. And God will guarantee that you will set your mind free from any enemy that stands against you and your knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. As Joshua and them have gone on their campaign to take this land that God had promised them, we see them go through victory after victory after victory after victory. And as they wind down to the end of that victory, we want to talk about the faithfulness of God. As they wind down, we're going to start at Joshua chapter 23. It says, now it came about after many days when the Lord had given rest to Israel from all their enemies on every side, and Joshua was old, advanced in years, that Joshua called for all Israel, for their elders and their heads and their judges and their officers, and said to them, I am old, advanced in years, and you have seen all that the Lord your God has done to all these nations because of you. For the Lord your God is he who has been fighting for you. See, I have apportioned to you these nations which remain as an inheritance for your tribes, with all the nations which I have cut off, from the Jordan even to the great sea, toward the setting of the sun. The Lord your God, he will trust thee. He will thrust them out from before you and drive them from before you, and you will possess their land, just as the Lord your God promised you. Be very firm then to keep and do all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, so that you may not turn aside from it to the right hand or to the left, so that you will not associate with these nations, these which remain among you, or mention the name of their gods, or make anyone swear by them, or serve them, or bow down to them. But you are to cling to the Lord your God as you have done to this day. For the Lord has driven out great and strong nations from before you, and as for you, no man has stood before you to this day. One of your men puts to flight 1,000, for the Lord your God is he who fights for you, just as he promised you. So take diligent heed to yourselves to love the Lord your God. For if you ever go back and cling to the rest of these nations, these which remain among you, and intermarry with them, so that you associate with them, and they with you, know with certainty that the Lord your God will not continue to drive these nations out from before you. But they will be a snare and a trap to you, and a whip on your sides and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from off this good land which the Lord your God has given you. Now behold, today I am going the way of all the earth, and you know in all your hearts and in all your souls that not one word, all of the good words which the Lord your God spoke concerning you has failed. All have been fulfilled for you. Not one of them has failed. It shall come about that just as all the good words which the Lord your God spoke to you have come upon you, so the Lord will bring upon you all the threats until he has destroyed you from off this good land which the Lord your God has given you. When you transgress the covenant of the Lord your God, your God, which he commanded you, and go and serve other gods and bow down to them, then the anger of the Lord will burn against you, and you will perish quickly from off the good land which he has given you. Let the church say amen. Amen. So they have finished their campaign. They've driven all of the enemies out. Well, they're not all of them, but they are now at peace. They can now enjoy being in the promised land. The salvation journey continues as God is working his experiments for man to get right with him. And as you move from Joshua, as Joshua has come to his end, but before he came to his end, Joshua chose to conquer his land last. He said, it was 45 years when God sent me out to spy the land. He said, now I stand before you today, 85 years old, just as young as I was when I was 45, just as strong as I was when I was 45, working just as hard as I was when I was 45. Let's go do this. I just had to throw that in there. Because we are moving toward life, not death. You're supposed to be getting younger, not older. Better, you're being restored. So the story goes in this salvation journey. So after Joshua passes, they're in the free land now. God created man to be self-governing. So in the new land, he doesn't give them any leaders. They have the priests to remind them of the things and the ways of God. But as they moved into the land, it said that people forgot all about their God and started to sin like champs. And it's a pattern. You have to recognize things in life. There are seasons. There are patterns. Watch people. We all have patterns. Over time, you start to notice we have patterns here. This person goes through this pattern, this season. It's a constant flow. It's good for us to understand that because we need to learn how to control our seasons. God says there's a season for planting, a season for reaping, a season for tearing down, a season for building up. And we have to know where we are in our journey, in our salvation journey, or what season we're in. So as they move through the promised land, they're living in houses that they didn't build, vineyards that they didn't plant, prosperity that they had nothing to do with establishing, but they're living a good life. They say good times produce weak people. Good times produce weak people. Weak people create chaos. Hard times produce strong people. Strong people produce good times. So I've been asking God, with a side note, how do we create strong people during our good times? We're in good times. How do we develop strong people? Because we're not that strong. We can't take much. We don't have time for God. It's boring. It's not exciting. But it has everything that you need. Weak people create bad situations. And all you have to do is look at your situations and just see where I am based on where I want to be. So as time has gone on, God in this experiment and this salvation journey, he goes to judges when they get into the promised land. He establishes judges as needed. The people go along with life. Life is good. They go into the promised land. Life is great. Eating good, living good, smelling good, having all sorts of fun. Life has never been so great. Vaguely remembering where they come from, they're living large now. And they're seeing things and getting involved with things that have nothing to do with who they profess to be. We might be doing the same thing, tying ourselves with people, things, and stuff of that nature that is not good for our spiritual growth and development, but makes us fight against the things of God. So as they go through the book of Judges, they do well, life is good, they sin, they call on God, God comes to the rescue, delivers them, sets them back up after they pay the penalty for their disobedience. God restores them again. Life goes well again, life is good, life is good, life is better than it's ever been, and lo and behold, they sin again. They sin again. And that's the pattern of mankind in its service to God. But God created man to be self-governing. Regardless of how much they sin, God would come back and restore them. Make life better for them. Life is better for you than it's ever been. Because God is faithful. He's always going to be faithful. He's always been faithful. He's been so faithful to the children of Israel, they get to a point where they no longer want God to be their God. They want to be like the world. So they ask for a king. Isn't that kind of crazy? You're living large. I mean, even if it's raggedy, it ain't like God standing up on you every day, do this and do that. He just bless you, life go good, better than you ever been. You sin, he come to your rescue. You know he came because he set you free. And he'll raise some of the oddest people that set you free. You say, this boy can't fight his way out of a wet paper bag. But God called him a champion, a warrior. The salvation journey is an amazing journey. If you watch it, y'all really pay attention to it. God, you mess up, you disobey God. You pay the consequence. He come right back and restore you. He will say, listen, I will keep coming to your rescue. You ain't learning nothing. You need some tough love. I'm going to let you work it out. Ain't that what we do? I'm too easy on you. He don't come back like, this look familiar? Wasn't I just here? How many times I've been back so far? You've lost count, haven't you? I haven't. You're determined to do what you want to do, and you see what happens every time you do it. Come on now. A rock ain't that slow. But he don't. Oh, my baby's crying. Woo, God, I gotta go get him. Who I'm gonna get today? I'm gonna go Joshua today. Joshua's asleep. He don't know what's going on. Hey, Joshua, come on. I want you to set my people free. Who, me? Man, I'm having a hard time just trying to make it from day to day. You talk about help somebody else. That's that salvation journey. It just blows your mind. And I'm glad you're getting a refresher as you're going through sin. It's like, my God. And we here complaining. And every time we turn around, we are messing up again. The salvation journey. But that's the faithfulness of God. He promised some things. He don't want to renege because you messed up. I'm going to still keep my word. And he comes through, and he comes through, and he comes through. And at the end of all of that, they say, you know what? Because you got to find somebody to blame. Listen, my friend, your sons off the Finney house, them boys ain't suited to be leading nobody. Do you know what they doing? They are despicable. You old. You ain't doing nothing with them. They just doing all sorts of stuff in the sanctuary. You know what? We don't want that no more. Give us a king so we can be like everybody else. How many of y'all trying to be like everybody else? Well, you don't want to talk about God. You know you don't want to be talking to God, talking to people about God and Jesus Christ. You don't want to do it because it's embarrassing, isn't it? You want to be like everybody else. They want to talk about, I don't know the singers, but they, all of them, You take pictures like them now. What is that? What are you trying to tell me? What are you promoting? What are you trying? But you like that. And when the people that you're promoting to comes for what you're promoting, you acting like they got a problem. The way of the world is so tempting, isn't it? Everybody wants to advertise and market. But what are you marketing? Oh, you just want me for my body. That's all you promoted. I know you don't think that's wife material. Do you think I can go to work with peace of mind and you got that phone in your hand? Ain't no telling what might be on that thing. I see everybody looking at me sniggering. What the way was it? You see his wife on TV? You see his wife on the phone? Oh my God. That boy's meat is full of skippers. Y'all young folks don't know nothing like that. But back in the day, we used to kill hogs. We used to have smoked meat. We put it outside in the building, salt it down, right? But there were times these little bugs in it they call skippers. Once you got skippers, they won't no more good. You could cut all you want, there was more skippers. You had to get rid of that piece of meat, burn it, and make sure you took every skipper with you. Well, we had a saying when we were growing up, that boy got skippers in his meat. Yes, everybody get a turn. Man can't work like that. He'll get fired in a heartbeat. He'll be angry, frustrated, and stay sick because he can't go to work. Because he got to keep an eye on his woman. The way of the world on the journey, the salvation journey, the things we must deal with. Why? It's exciting. What is it about it? It just pulls us. I hear them clicking now. They calling now. Bing, bing. Tell them to come join us in service. If you're that important to them, influence them. Tell them, come, see. But you can't do it, can you? They're going to ostracize you. They're going to leave you out. You can't come to the parties that they're having. And if you come, they're going to laugh at you and cut you out. Yeah. You want to do the wiggle jiggle because everybody else is doing the wiggle jiggle. You know you don't want your daughters doing the wiggle jiggles once you get grown. You know you don't. You wiggle jiggle all you want when you're young, but when you get old, you're like, hey, don't be doing no wiggling jiggling. Why? Because it pleases the human nature. That's been the salvation journey. So they said, after all this that God has done for them, their conclusion is, you know what? We don't need a God. We need to be like everybody else. Give us a king. Samuel just crushed. Samuel, listen, they ain't talking to you. They're talking about me. But look, we're going to listen to them, but let them know what they're getting into. Let them know. So they don't come sniffling, crying to me once it happens. They're going to take your best, they're going to take your youngest, your strongest, your brightest, and they're going to bring them in to serve the king. Where are our brightest minds at now? You think they're in college. They've been to college, but who they working for? The man that's making the AIs and all this other stuff that's, you know. Oh, and I heard, just throwing this, part of this decision you're going to have to make. I heard in the Navy from a special ops guy that got out in 2020 because of this very thing, they were being required to take chips in their skin. And he said he was having so many soldiers now, they said once they put that thing in your mind, something starts happening to the way you think. They find themselves out of control sometimes. I wonder what type of messages you could send to that chip. I wonder how many people are disappearing behind that chip. Because someone needs to disappear. I was like, what? I hadn't heard that. How did I miss that? He said, yeah, I got out. Yes, sir, I got out. They ain't chipping me. That sign of the beast there, I got out. Yeah, I had a few more years ago, but I got out. Yeah, and I'm glad I got out. Because it's mandatory. especially with special ops. You're going to chip a special ops, the most deadliest, silent, disappearing killers in the world, that could walk into this room with all this light and take you out, no one ever saw them? Just a crazy thought. Just don't pay that no mind. We're talking about the salvation journey, the things you got to be watching out for. Isn't it amazing? Give us a king. Wow. You got a God that just lets you do what you want to do. And when you get messed up, he come rescue you. Come on. What you want to have? What you got, right? He just come and rescue you. He don't be saying, what, you knew better. Didn't I tell you? How many times have we had this conversation? The salvation journey. He's so patient. You want a king that'll cut your head off if you haven't been given permission to say something. Ooh, Lord have, woo, that's past Lord have mercy. The salvation journey. So they said, listen, we don't want God no more. We want a king. Now, mind you, every king that they have met along the way, even when they joined forces, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 at a time, were no match for this God y'all can't see. I mean, what kind of sense does that make? Listen, my God that I'm serving has defeated every king, much greater than us. They said it was so many, it was like the sand of the seashore. Can you imagine seeing that many people? And you got a small number compared to that? God said, hey, I got your back. Don't worry about it. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to mess their minds up. I got a God that can mess with minds. You don't need no chip either. He says, hey, just be his enemy. He just mess your mind up. That's the God we serve. But you chose to take a loser. No matter how much you put them together, how much power they have, you chose that loser over this God that hasn't lost a battle yet. That part of the Red Sea, the greatest army of all time, Pharaoh, he just sucked them up in a drink of water. But you said, no, we don't want him. How many of y'all said, no, God, we don't want you? I know you got all that power, but look, I can't fit in if I take you. My friends gonna think I'm strange. You might require me to start drinking water instead of Kool-Aid. I can't take it, God. You just too good. You want me to be too good. Too good for what? I can't cut the world loose. I can't be this good and be accepted by the world, God. They're gonna call me good at two shoes. I just can't. The salvation journey, it just blows my mind. That the decisions that we make along the way. You've been blowing your mind lately? Yeah, I just said, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I said that. It's called the salvation journey. Because God created you to be self-governed. So they decide they want a king. And we know how that goes. First king out, he loses his job after 30 minutes on the job. He loses his job. So, but with a king, guess what? They were still determined to have it their way. And what this salvation journey has proven, it doesn't matter what you do to man. It doesn't matter how you help him. It doesn't matter how easy you help him. He's going to do it his way. That's what the conclusion is. Man is going to do what he wants to do regardless. Man is going to do what he wants to do regardless. That is the conclusion of this salvation journey. God said, all right then. Because you won't keep a covenant, you're determined to be your own boss. You wanted to have it your own way. I'm going to do you a favor. Because when I brought man here the first time, I gave him no knowledge. I gave him no understanding of nothing. But what I'm going to do for you with this new covenant, I'm going to give you all the knowledge there is. I'm going to give you all the power there is. And I'm going to make everything that I've created available to you. but you're only going to get what you deserve. Because you're free to do whatever you want to do. You're going to have to decide because you're smart. And I put my word inside of you. You won't be able to say nobody taught me. Because you're going to know me. Because of this new covenant. Because we've proven with these old covenants, man is going to do whatever he wants to do, regardless of what his experience in life is. He's going to do it. That's what the experiment proves. He's going to do what he wants to do, regardless of how much proof he has that there is a God, that there is something better, that there are grave consequences to not following that God. With all of that information, he's still going to do what he wants to do. That's why y'all struggling. That's why you're having a hard time with God. You're determined to do it your way, and that's how God created you. He did not create man with a government. He did not create man to legislate right from wrong. He just gave man instructions. Choose. But man didn't have enough knowledge, information to choose. What's the word? Knowingly. Informed. So he said, okay, that first experiment flunked. I can see some of the issues with it. Man didn't know enough. He didn't know what dying was. He didn't know what dying was. He didn't know any of that. He didn't even know everything about me because I was still talking to him. But this second experiment, I got the answers. Because not everybody's going to want to follow me for whatever reason. Usually, I'm just too good for most people. So he said, in the new covenant, I'm going to write the word in your hearts. And you're going to know me. No man is going to need to be teaching any man about know the Lord, because they all will know me, young to old. Not only that, I'm going to put my spirit inside of them to guarantee that if they want to follow me, they'll be able to. If they want to. Not if someone convinces them, not if someone makes them, not if even someone scares them into following. They're going to know what to do. And most are still going to choose not to follow me. But they will be without excuse because I will make sure that they know. And I'm going to give them the freedom to do whatever they want to do. Salvation journey, still in progress. Salvation journey still flowing strong. We're on the last leg of that journey because God has now brought man back to where he created him. Free will to choose. But with all the knowledge you need to know to make an informed decision so you can decide what you want to encounter and deal with. Isn't God awesome? He said, look, it's been proven. I created man to be self-governing. And that's what he's chosen to do. He's going to do what he wants to do regardless of what I say, regardless of what I do, regardless of what he goes through. He's going to do what he wants to do. That is the conclusion of the story. So with that said, he says, now, I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do. You got to decide what is the outcome in your life that you're pursuing. What do you want at the end of this story? At the end of this chapter, when this is over, what do you want? He says, if you want to be with me, then these are the things you must do. If you don't have to. Do whatever you want to do, but you can't spend eternity with me. Now he's being clear now. He ain't speaking no jibber. He ain't speaking no secret code. He said, listen, I am the creator. I created all things. I created everything for my purpose. There was a problem in heaven. One of my subjects decided they wanted to do their own thing. But he forgot he wasn't a creator. So when he decided he wanted to do everything, what he wanted to do, he didn't have the power to create. So he had to take the resources he needed to create his kingdom, and that resource was people. And because I'm a loving God, you choose, I gave him free rein to do so. But he didn't think it all the way through. He didn't realize that making that decision wasn't the most beneficial thing to do if he wanted to stay in good terms with God. He didn't realize that was going to be the outcome, that this was going to take him out of goodwill with God. So once he made that decision, it was no room for him in heaven anymore. So my Lord of War went to war with him, because there was no place left for him up here. He made his choice. We had nothing else better to offer. So he made his choice. He chose to fight, and he lost. But he's good. He encouraged a third of the angels to follow him. So we kicked him down to earth so that the salvation process could begin. That salvation process was restoring what Satan had damaged. God is not going to go short-handed. He's going to take the very same thing that made him go short-handed and use that to restore what was taken. That's why you're here. You're restoring what was lost. He doesn't need all of you. He'd like to have all of you. But you have to decide. You have to choose. Because it's a free choice. It's a free will. Don't nobody leave here today thinking you have to do anything for God. Don't make nobody make you believe you have to be saved. You don't. It's your choice. It's your choice. And God is never going to come. Girl, you can be sad you made that decision. I'm telling you, boy, you messed up on that one. You just don't know what's in store for you. He don't do that. He left Joshua believing that he had done everything he had told him to do. Can you believe that? He said, no, he said everything Moses told you to do, you've done. Ain't God smart, though? I mean, he didn't say he did everything I told him to do. He did the things that Moses told him to do. And Joshua went out like this. I got a God. And y'all got to make sure y'all follow every covenant. This the same God just. Aren't those Gibeonites getting the water? Aren't they supposed to be dead? And he telling us to make sure we follow every word, or all the curses that God spoke will come against us? Ooh. Nobody intervened and said, Joshua, wake up. You've already doomed us. God didn't see that. My man Joshua, mighty warrior, did everything Moses told him to do. Gave the land. Everybody cool now. We at peace. Joshua the man. Joshua died at 110. Nice numbers. Without a hero. And the conclusion is, God ain't going to never tell you how much crab legs you miss. Boy, you should have been here yesterday. You missed them crab legs, man. He's not going to do that. Because you're free to do whatever you want to do. I want you to leave here today understanding God has already determined you're going to do whatever you want to do regardless of what anybody says. If he can come to terms with it, we better. Because he's not going to change. He ain't going to be, all right, time running down. You ready? You sure you want to stay on that decision? He ain't going to do that. He going to let life go good for you. Life going to be going great. All the things you touch and turn into gold. But at the end, you can realize that this is just a second compared to the end. And you might find yourself in the wrong place in your mind. Whoa, it's mighty hot. Why is it sweating so much? What in the world? I was on the salvation journey to heaven. Oh, you made a decision, don't you remember? You said you didn't want to serve God like that. That wasn't the most beneficial decision, but hey, we could have said something, but hey, you got all the information you need to make an informed decision on your own with the Holy Spirit. Don't let your compassion for those that you love, that think they have a relationship with God, get you off track with God like it did Joshua. And just because life go good for you, you think you're somewhere with God that you're not. You free to do whatever you want to do. God has proven that. He created you to be self-governed, which brings us to the recovery from the fall. You got to recover before you can make that decision for God. You got to recover from all those things that your human nature loves and those things that it despises, especially the things that will bring you into a relationship with God. You have to recover. The salvation journey, before it can work for you, you must recover from the fall. You must discover who you really are. You must know who you really are. You must accept who you really are. Because God is going to hold you accountable for who you are and the decisions that you make. It's called the salvation journey, where you have been given all the information you need to make an informed decision on what you want to do. And be okay with the decision that you make. Don't hold others accountable for the decisions that you make. God ain't going to beat you down and make you feel lousy. The Holy Spirit is only going to do so much before he just shut up. That's the salvation journey. It came down to after God had did all the miracles that he had done, all the supernatural things that he'd done. At the end of the story, they no longer wanted God to be their God. They wanted a king. They wanted to be like the world. Some people don't want to recover from the world's influence. That's their choice. That's their right. But understand, you will have to carry your own load. You are going to be the one that's going to have to bear the brunt for the decisions that you make. No one else. You're not hurting anyone, hopefully, anymore, because of the decision that you decide. Because God has allowed you to call yourself his children, he's not going to allow life to be successful for you the way you want, because you want to have both worlds. He's not. He's not. Just not how he works. It ain't the world. It ain't the system. It's you and the decisions that you have made internally in your heart on what you're going to do. You're saying one thing out your mouth, but your decisions, your character, and your state of mind saying something totally opposite. God knows these things. He is the owner of the resources. He is the one that decides who gets what. He said, you asking me for a lot of stuff you're not getting. Why? Because you want to use it for your own desires. The salvation journey. God created you to have a free will, to choose. You have one up on Adam. You have all the knowledge there is to know to make an informed decisions. You just have to decide what you want to believe. The salvation journey. The faithfulness of God. He's going to continue to do everything he promised to you. But in this covenant, he didn't promise to give you nothing. He promised to make everything available. He's not going to give you what you want. Because of the new covenant and all the information, he's going to give you what you deserve. Don't be fooled. God will not be mocked. A man will reap what he sows. If you sow to your flesh, you will reap destruction from that flesh. If you sow from the Spirit, you will receive life abundantly. Choose. It's that simple. It's on the table. Nobody's decision but yours. You're going to get what you deserve. This is what God decided. After I've given man everything freely, I've blessed him in all his mess. I've delivered him from all the trouble that he's gotten in. And I've given him wealth and resources that he didn't even earn himself. And he still chose to follow the world. I got you. I got you. I'm going to make everything that I have accessible to you. Everything is accessible to you as my children. But you're only going to get what you deserve. That is the conclusion of God's experiment and giving man free will and just giving him everything he needs, calling on him when he needs him, delivering him when he's done so much damage, calling on him, he's still coming. He said the conclusion of all this, he's going to do what he want to do anyway, so it don't matter how good I treat him. It doesn't matter how good I treat him, no matter how much I deliver him, he's still going to do what he want to do, and he's going to do it against me. But I'm a loving God. I created this for you. I created all of this for you, and I'm not going to take it away from you. I'm going to make it accessible to anybody that wants it. But you're only going to get what you deserve, not what you want. Could he be much fairer than that? Could he be much fairer than that? It's all accessible to you, but you're only going to get what you deserve. What do you deserve? What you've been sowing. What you've been trying to please. Your human nature or God? If you're trying to please God, the world is your oyster. If you're trying to please yourself, you get nothing from God. Go grunt and grind like the fall said you would. Sweat from your brow. Work for a lot, bring in a little. Suffering in hard times is what you're going to get if you're sowing to your human nature. And suffering in hard times does something to the mind when there's no hope. And he has a way of bringing you to the end of your hope when you try everything your limited mind and your knowledge has made available for you to try, and it still don't work. That's misery. But that's what you deserve, because it's the fruit of what you planted. What are you planting? What do you want? What are you getting? Everything is accessible to you, but you're only going to get what you deserve. And nobody can feel sorry for you, because it's just a decision. Boom, that was a decision. See how quick I made that decision? That's how quick a decision is. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you if you've chosen to live a horrible life. Ain't gonna spend a lot of time with you, because I don't like horrible lives. I don't like watching horrible lives. I'm gonna surround myself with people that have chosen to live the good life, because I know it came with a great sacrifice. People that are willing to make massive decisions. People that are willing to cut themselves loose from that's not good for them. Those are people I like to hang around, because they so into me. The bad life people, they suck it out you. They won't smile. You wonder there's something wrong with them. They always got the Down syndrome. It's just ooh. Stay away from me unless I'm working. That's the only time I choose those environments, when God has me working. I need to be sown into. I need to be edified and built up. I need to be around people that are willing to make decisions when they need to make them, so I can see that it works. It encourages me to want to encourage others, because I see that it works. This world is open to you if you profess to be a child of God. If you don't profess to be a child of God, you can make it accessible to you. Free will. Nobody gets to make it. You get to choose, and we're here to give you enough information so you can be informed in that decision making. That's all we're here for. That's what God's choice. I sent Adam into this world with no information, nothing, not even the knowledge of good and evil. And that failed on the first go round. He didn't have enough information, but I'm making sure on this second leg of salvation, I'm gonna make sure everybody has information. You know why? Because I'm gonna put it in them. They can be without excuse. They know when they're wrong. They know when they're not lining up. And when they stand before me asking me for anything, I'm gonna look at them and laugh. You've made your choice. If you want it, repent. Get it right inside, not up here. In here. Because you're only going to get what you sow, and I promise you that. That's God's promise. Because I've gone through all the miracles. It doesn't work on man's mind to make him want to serve me. That has been proven. It has to be in a heart for me. That's the only way he's going to choose me. And if his heart is anywhere else, he's not going to choose me, and there's nothing you can do to make them. Meditate on what I've shared with you. Think about these things. We created a soft generation, a weak generation, because we wanted them to have a better life, not realizing it's the hard life that creates strong people. So I'm trying to figure out, talking to God, how do we create strong people in a good environment when it's not all that stress and suffering that's going on? Because I know it's possible. I think we need to stop wasting time on people that have chosen not to serve God and work on building those that have chosen to serve God. The decisions were made. Those that fight against what God is doing, don't fight them. If they don't want to participate in your class, let them sit there. Just don't let them distract. Work on the ones that want to be there. That's God's way of weeding out those that have chosen not to serve him. That's his way, so you know. Choices are made. Seeds are planted. Harvest definitely going to come. Don't get distracted by those who've decided they don't want to serve God. You're going to get distracted, and you're going to miss strengthening those that have chosen to. That's just the way it is. That's the salvation journey. If for adventure God decides, somehow, some way, and they change their mind, so be it. But let God do it. You can't. Everyone is free to make their own decisions. Ask God to fix your mind to be okay with that decision, and he will do that too. Because it's his will that you have a peace of mind, that your heart be protected. And it's usually hurt by those that are the closest to you. God can fix it. Let us hear some music. I want you to meditate on what has been shared. Oh, that's right. Yes. Communion. Get the young men to come forward. Let's get a Lord a hand praise.